This story begins in 1972 in Altona, Manitoba. It is told on behalf of 4 prominent women from the Altona community, Selma Lowen and her friends Liney Friesen, Susan Giesbrecht, and Sarah Stace. Other important characters in this story are John Hostetler, who was the MCC Director of Material Resources, Arthur Dreger, Executive Director of MCC Manitoba, Lois Kreider of Newton, Kansas, and tens of thousands of unnamed volunteers. It's been said that it all began with a tea party at Selma's house, but we'll come back to that in a moment. It was deep in the winter of 1972 when John Hostetler, known to his friends as Hosey, was scheduled to travel to Manitoba to speak at the MCC Manitoba annual meeting. There, he would share an important report with the kind and generous people of Manitoba, telling of the many material aid resources that had gone out to places around the world. People of Manitoba looked forward to attending their annual meeting. They loved to sing and pray together for the work of MCC. Selma especially looked forward to hearing the stories told of how MCC was responding in the name of Christ to needs around the world. John reported that there was a big change coming in MCC Material Resources. He said, MCC will be greatly reducing shipments of used clothing for overseas distribution. While Lowen was listening to John, she thought, what will we do with all of our clothes? Then John said, what we need is a machine that will turn clothing into cash for MCC.
I can't stand to throw anything away. I can't stand. Well, I'm on a meal with a mouthful of yellow throw anything away. I can't stand me down through softballs and shooting from the third space to anything away. I can't stand.
Then Lowen said a light bulb went on. Literally, a light bulb went on. I immediately had an idea for just such a machine, and I couldn't wait to get home to share the idea with my friends. The following day, Lowen shared her idea with her friends, Liney and Sarah and Susan. I phoned them the next day. I was so excited. The next step was hosting an afternoon tea party to discuss this project with them. There was no hesitation. Everyone was willing to do this together. The next day, they invited Arthur Dreger, Manitoba Executive Director, to the tea party. They excitedly shared their vision with Dreger, who gave his blessing with one caution. The project would be theirs and should not require any funds from MCC Manitoba. Selma saw the potential for women's groups from different Mennonite churches in the community to work together. The project would also give local families easy access to good quality, low-cost clothing and household items, and they would donate the proceeds to MCC. The idea was highly endorsed by all. They began to recruit volunteers and to collect donations of used clothing and household items. Within a few weeks, the women had rented a facility for the shop, a small building formerly used as a shoe repair shop. They made some improvements, sorted, priced, and placed the items neatly in the store, and named their project the Altona Community Self-Help Center. The doors of the first MCC Thrift Shop opened to the public on March 17, 1972. During the first weeks of operation, the shop raised $1,000 for MCC. They expected the project to only last 3 to 6 months. Of course, by then, they were sure all the closets in Altoona would be cleared out and their job would be complete. By the end of 1972, shops had opened in Manitoba, Steinbach, and Winnipeg. In 1974, the movement spread to Bluffton, where Lois Kreider, following the Altona model, approached women's groups from the Bluffton, Ohio area Mennonite churches. The Bluffton Etc. shop opened in 1974. It was also the first retail location for self-help crafts, then MCC's Job Creation Program. Today, the Job Creation Program continues as 10,000 Villages, a thriving fair trade enterprise. Throughout the 1970s, thrift shops continued to open throughout the U.S. and Canada. Although raising money for MCC is the primary motivation, the 4 founders unanimously agreed the most rewarding benefit of thrift shops was the impact in the local community. MCC thrift shops offer the opportunity for people from the community churches to work together in a local ministry while supporting MCC. They are, some say, MCC working in the name of Christ on Main Street, commonly committed to Christian faith and action. In 2008, Selma Lowen and her friends Liney and Susan and Sarah were honored at a bi-national thrift shop gathering in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Their heartwarming account of the 1970s events drew a spontaneous standing ovation from an appreciative audience of more than 200 thrift shop board members, managers, and volunteers. This is so overwhelming. To think that our Tea Party dream has grown to this. To God be the glory, said Selma Lowen. This story began in 1972, and it will continue to be told on behalf of people like Selma and Lois and John and Arthur and tens of thousands of unnamed volunteers.